Hello, everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for the Vampire Diaries Season 5, Episode 5, Monsters Ball. I'm your host, Dom, and with me I have my co-host, Mike.
Hello.
And Umikins is out sick this week.
Yes.
So, what'd you think of Dr. Maxfield playing vampire biologist?
I want to say it. I wish I could say, oh, I'm so surprised. I'm not really. He's a microbiologist. He covered up a vampire kill. He's definitely something going on there. I don't know. Was it the last show? I think I said that he was experimenting or might be experimenting on people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it actually shows he is experimenting, and he's leaving. What's the guy's name? I said last episode that he was guy who I didn't care about, minor character.
The minor character that you didn't care about?
Yeah, we'll go with him.
Okay.
Anyway, he yeah, you got that up, and then I'm just looking on the screen share like, what the hell? Jesse, that's his name, Jesse. There we go. He's keeping Jesse alive in the like pre-transition into vampire state, which, as far as we've been told, is you die with vampire blood in your system, you're going to come back to life, but then you're going to have to feed in order to become a full vampire, or you're going to die.
Right.
I didn't know that this process took this long.
I don't believe it does. I believe Dr. Maxfield probably has fed him some kind of blood of some sort to complete the transition. Because he said, from what I understand, is you had to feed within the day.
That's what I understood.
1 day.
But
And he had said in this episode that subject has gone without feeding for 3 days. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he has gone without feeding since transforming. We don't know.
true. But I mean, the way they're making it seem, it's like he's in the limbo state between full vampire and,
Right.
yeah, that just doesn't. Maybe he's experimenting with him to see if there's a way to cure vampirism scientifically.
I don't know. Or maybe he's super engineering him. Maybe he's playing around with vampire genetics to do something that maybe vampires cannot do normally. Modifying their blood, something like that.
That is a good possibility because he said, this would make him a perfect candidate.
Mm-hmm.
For what, pray tell, Mr. Mad Scientist?
Yes, exactly. So we learned a little more about Dr. Maxfield in this episode. He has an adopted son, I want to call it. We don't really know. The kid's name's Aaron, and he just addresses him as his legal guardian. Do you think that this is going to be his weakness? Do you think that somebody will exploit this?
Most definitely. Maybe Damon if he goes full asshole mode.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's a weakness for Dr. Maxfield if he winds up being the bad guy this season. And, well, I mean, Silas is currently the big bad guy, but if he winds up being, a secondary bad guy, this could be a weakness.
Yep.
Definitely. Because he said, deep down, he's like, I do care about what happens to you. So,
Right.
weakness.
So we also kind of learned a little bit about Aaron. He was, I should say, friends with Megan, Elena, and Caroline's former roommate. So the one that passed away and was covered up with the vampire attack. Do you think he knows anything about vampires?
Jury's out. Possibly. But no, there's no proof either way right now that he knows or doesn't know. He definitely isn't on Vervain because Elena compels him.
Right.
And it seems to work.
I don't believe he is. Any knowledge of vampires whatsoever. Because I feel like Dr. Maxfield, Wes Maxfield, I should say, said anything to him. He would have said, hey, Elena is a vampire, stay away from her. But he just said, stay away from Elena. Which also kind of leads into my next question is, how and who are these people that Dr. Maxfield has said to Elena know about her and her friends?
Well, he said, you got to be careful because the wrong people will start asking the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're watching her and her friends.
Right.
So, yeah, who are they? What's their deal? Are they like some secret society of vampire hunters?
Very well could be. Could be a new council.
A different council, yeah, because he mentioned that he was, he admired Elena's biological daddy's work.
Mm-hmm.
So, mm, new
Yep.
council he started in a different town. Maybe the council members split up, traveled the country, started new council-like entities in other towns to combat the supernatural. I don't know.
Yep.
We don't know.
We don't.
Theory. That's my
So
theory. I'm sticking to it.
we get a lot more with Silas and Stefan this episode, and there's a possibility now for Bonnie to come back, which we kind of speculated on already, because Bonnie's been sticking around. Usually when a character dies, they die, and that's the end of them. But Bonnie's died, and she's hanging around in ghost form. She's interacting with people. She's still there, so to speak.
Yep.
So it was inevitable that they're going to try to find some way for Bonnie to come back. Whether they succeed or not is another story, but using her as a catalyst for another story was kind of inevitable. So the theory that Damon comes up with is that if Silas dies, then they can replace Silas with Bonnie and correct the balance of nature.
Right.
Do you see this plan actually working out?
In some way, sure. Not 100% as they have it put down on paper. Something's going to definitely not work out the way they're thinking. But I think overall, in the end, Bonnie's going to wind up back alive. From this plan, maybe. From some other means we haven't been, shown, also maybe. So, I don't know. There's going to be some drama involving this plan. That's all I know.
Right. What about Damon offering to work with Silas?
Well, Damon wants to get Bonnie back, and really, Silas, like, as far as we knew at this point, his master plan is to use the cure, become mortal, and then die. Really, like, if you really think about it, what's so bad about that? He wants to die. And he's kind of a bad guy. Everybody wants him dead. So it's kind of a win-win situation. Give him the cure, help him die.
Right. But he also wants to take the other side down with him.
Right.
In the process.
Now, this is like that, limbo that the witches go to when they die, right? Is that what he wants to take down?
The limbo where all supernatural creatures die. Yeah.
He wants to get rid of that.
Yep.
So, what's the bad thing there? I mean,
everybody that has ever been killed by Stefan, Damon, anybody, they'll all be coming back. So all the Mystic Falls vampires, the original brothers, all of them will be coming back.
Oh, okay. I thought they'd be just going from whatever limbo they're in to the afterlife, hell, heaven, what have it.
No.
So they'll be coming back to life.
Well, that's how Ketsia came back.
Right. Oh my.
So
some major implications there for the original show as well. They'll be getting their brothers back.
Could be.
That'd be hilarious.
Yes. They just show up on the doorstep, wonder how they got there.
That'd be a great season 2 for originals right there.
It would.
It's like, oh, by the way, our brothers are back. What? And so is our father. What?
Yep. Michael will be back.
Oh, God.
Like.
Oh.
Yeah.
That entertain. But
the hunters that they've killed off. But yeah, they'll get some of their friends back. Pearl and Anna can come back. So it won't be all bad if the veil does get dropped. Alaric.
Oh yeah.
So
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But they're gonna throw a monkey wrench into that plan.
Yeah. Well, they kind of already. That's what they tried to do at the end of the last season, and you kind of saw how that turned out. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're actually going to get to that or not. But, so Ketsia kind of reveals, while she's compelled. Actually, how did she get compelled in the first place? I didn't think witches could be compelled.
I don't think it's like Silas says it's his mind control. I don't think that's actual the same kind of vampire compulsion. I think that's just more, you know, really supercharged immortal witch power.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think that is.
So you think she's on Vervain and all that, and being a witch?
Maybe, sure, but I don't think any of that matters when it's dealing with Silas.
Right. So that would explain why they haven't tried to compel her previously.
Right, because Bonnie could never be compelled, right? Thank goodness seasons. Have you ever seen a witch get compelled?
I don't think so.
Me neither. I don't remember it happening. I mean, I'll admit it's been a real long while since I've seen any episodes from those seasons, but nothing's coming to mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah, different kind of compulsion, different kind of mind control.
All right, so going back to that, so Silas compels Ketsia, and then they learn about where they're trying to find out where the anchor to the other side is, so they can drop the veil to the other side. What do you think this anchor could be? It's because they kind of said that it's got to be something that's gonna stand the test of time. It's gonna be something that's gonna last. It's got to be this physical object, and it's got to be something that the travelers can move. So it can't be like a giant boulder or tree or something like that.
Can't be a pyramid.
Yeah, it's got to be something small or fairly easy to move. Like the moonstone, almost.
Yeah, so like what comes to mind there? A gem, like the moonstone, a rock, something made out of some extremely sturdy metal that's not going to corrode or decay over time. The only thing that comes to mind is iridium, but yeah. There's probably others, no chemical mineralogist or anything like that. It's definitely some object that's small. I'm going to go with a rock, a gemstone, or maybe, yeah, I mean, the moonstone thing's already been done, but it's probably something similar.
So you wouldn't possibly think that it could be a dagger?
Perhaps.
Maybe like the dagger that Gregor told Matt to hold on to?
Oh my god, I forgot entirely about that. That would make sense. Because he was a traveler. That's an important dagger. He said, hold on to it and protect it, or that'll be your neck. My brain is going.
Yes. That was the first thing I thought of when they said it's an anchor. It's something that the travelers continually move, and that the travelers, pretty much their purpose was to continually move this. So Ketsia and Silas have no clue where it is. So
yeah, that was
instantly thought the dagger.
And now that you think of it, that dagger is how friggin' old it looks.
Yeah.
And, stuff. So that makes perfect sense now. It probably is that dagger. So Matt's holding onto the anchor, just all like la-di-da, unsure, and we didn't even see Matt this episode at all. So
right, and since he hasn't revealed anything about him being controlled by a traveler or anything like that, the rest of the group doesn't know anything about it.
Nope. Well, talk about entertaining. It's good.
So Tyler came back last episode, and him and Caroline, seemed like they didn't miss a beat until Tyler revealed that he cannot give up the chase for Klaus, and he's got to go take care of that. And in the meantime, that means the end, seemingly indefinitely, for Caroline and Tyler.
Unfortunately, yes.
So do you think Tyler's going to show up in New Orleans now for the originals?
Yeah. I mean, we just recorded our originals podcast, and this just makes it seem like, because in that show, Haley was protected by a guardian werewolf. I think that guardian werewolf is Tyler, because he's been helping a pack of werewolves, as he states it. And he cannot give up the chase for Klaus. He needs to get his revenge. What better way than to screw with Klaus's unborn child in Haley? just the theories and the things and the possibilities are twisting and turning and twining and giving me a headache. But I think Tyler's going to show up in the originals on that show now in an episode or two.
Tyler would be a great addition to that cast. He's seemingly kind of useless right now on the Vampire Diaries. There's not a real place for him.
He was mentioned a couple times, and now he showed up the end of last episode and was here this episode, and he said, "Bye, Caroline," and walked out the door.
I could see Tyler being a reason for more people to cross over that only watch the Vampire Diaries to start watching the originals. It seems like a good segue bridge for that or whatever. But, so do you think this is the end of Caroline and Tyler, or do you think there's some salvaging this at some point?
I think she's going to attempt to get over him, so I'm going to tentatively say this may be the end for them.
So her and Jesse, or as you put it, the guy who doesn't really matter, may
assuming
hook up.
Jesse survives, they'll probably hook up and become a thing. Otherwise, I have a slight inkling that we may see some Steph and Caroline coupling happening.
That might be interesting.
If he doesn't get his memories back, for me, it's a certain. Like, no doubt about it. His current amnesic state, he and Caroline, so many C names, they're going to be a thing.
You kind of see that there was some Steph and Tyler, almost like a turf war going on at the dance.
Yeah. Eyeballs met, lightning bolts struck between their eyes.
Yeah.
Kind of, death glares at each other. But if he gets his memory back, it's not a sure thing, but I still see it happening.
Right.
Because, she was there for him, and she's always been there for him. And
yeah. So I was a little disappointed by this whole party. I thought this was going to be more of a Halloween party just due to the name of the episode, Monsters Ball. But it was a historical party, and they dressed up like famous figures. It was Tyler and Caroline were Bonnie and Clyde. Who was Elena?
She was some queen who got her head chopped off.
Yeah, I forget the name, but it's a famous one. I'm just not well versed in our history.
I am, but I didn't care enough to remember. So I was like, oh, that's clever.
But I bet you remember who Stefan went as. No, James Dean.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking, I'm like, drawing blank. I remember this, and then James Dean. Yes.
So our theories from last week completely went out the window on who they could possibly be dressed as. So, I was kind of expecting more of a season 1 Halloween party with the Vicky and being played as Jesse and kind of having a little fun with deja vu, and they could have gone a whole interesting direction with that, but they went a different way. So Ketsia retrieved her necklace. That was kind of the point of the party and things like that. But to me, the real interesting part of this episode was the reveal of Nadia being Katherines' daughter. Did you see that one coming?
I knew Nadia was a vampire because Omi was spewing that to me for the last week and a half. And her logic was sound with me, so I agreed. She's a vampire. Did I expect her to be Katherines' daughter? Not a clue. I almost forgot that Katherine had a daughter, and when I thought about it, I thought her daughter was dead.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't remotely, didn't even trigger at all.
Because it was so many years ago, so, yeah.
This was, I gotta admit, this is one of the few times I was, completely shocked out of nowhere. Like, I didn't even think of that possibility.
Yeah.
Sort of moments.
So it was revealed, Nadia thought that Katherine had abandoned her completely, and she accused her of killing her mother, all this stuff, which she did. She killed herself, to become a vampire and all that. But Katherine reveals that she went back for her after she took a year off from the chase of, Klaus and running away from Klaus's minions and stuff like that. Katherine kind of shows this little moment of compassion. So do you think that this is true emotion of compassion, or do you think she's just pulling a Katherine on her daughter?
5 seasons of experience. Well, 4.5 seasons now. 4 point whatever. Seasons of experience wants me to say she's pulling a Katherine, but this is her daughter. That, I mean, that was a big deal for Catherine back in the day. So I want to say maybe she's not. This is true compassion and true feelings for her daughter.
Yeah.
Or I'm wrong.
It could go either way. It's pretty much a coin toss at this moment. Maybe she did go back for her, and this was still when she had her humanity before she turned her emotions off, and she was telling her this story because it was true and not because she still felt that way. We don't know. But yeah, it's very interesting. So we see at the very end of the episode and stuff, Silas and Ketsia go back and forth. She stops Silas's heart. She freezes it, and Damon and Elena take them back to the Salvatore mansion, and he's just chilling there on the couch. The doorbell rings. Catherine comes in. She's clearly on the run. She wants to get out of there as soon as possible. She just escaped Nadia. She staked her, just barely missing her heart with some random dude's cane while they were in public at a restaurant. And Silas is laying there on the couch, all stone cold frozen, stuff
And
like
she's
that.
all happy.
She's excited. And then Damon bites into her neck and starts feeding her to Silas. And it was previously revealed that Catherine is the cure. The cure is in her blood now, and she would have to be drained of all her blood to make Silas mortal again. So you see Damon feeding Silas Catherine and drains her of what seems to be all or most of her blood, and then throws her on the ground.
And they zoom out with this whole her dramatic in a dead pose, and I'm thinking, wow, she's really dead.
They finally killed her.
Yeah, like 5 seasons of her, and they've given this whole backstory that she's the, stereotypical survivor, the run, always will do anything to live.
Yep. And then all of a sudden, Damon and Elena start hearing her heartbeat. First, I thought that was Silas's heartbeat, but it's not. It revealed to be Catherine. She wakes up and she goes, "What is this, hell?" How? How did she live through this? Why didn't she die?
The only thing I can come up with is I have 2 possibilities. And one of them's a very weak possibility. Actually, they're both kind of weak. But first one, she wasn't drained of all her blood. But she was drained of so much. I mean, you lose, what is it, a third of your blood, and you're pretty much screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a weak theory. That she wasn't drained of everything. 2, that because her blood is the cure for immortality, it has thusly made her immortal in some way, shape, and form. That, she's like Silas without his mind control powers. She's just an immortal human. Nothing special about her except the fact that she can't die.
Right.
That's the other theory. And maybe there's some third option I haven't thought of, or that they haven't even hinted at, and they're just going to spring on us next episode. But how did she not die? I have no idea. I was like, and especially the whole dramatic zoom out above her body, I'm thinking, cool. She's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait till next week to find out.
Yeah.
So next week kind of seems like a reference to Catherine. The title is Handle with Care.
Mm-hmm.
So it says Silas happily announces his new goal to Damon and Elena, but they are skeptical when he promises to accomplish one important task in return for their help. Ketsia confidently tells Stefan about her next move, then realizes that Silas has managed to outsmart her. A desperate Catherine discovers a new and unexpected consequence of being human again, and realizes she needs a new place to stay. In exchange for a spot in the dorm room, she offers to show Caroline. Exchange for a new spot in the dorm room, she offers to show Caroline how to get answers from Dr. Maxfield. Who is that? She. Oh, so Catherine is going to be staying with Caroline?
Caroline and
Ooh.
Elena in their dorm room.
Interesting. Caroline, not to get answered to Dr. Maxfield. Bonnie is touched by Jeremy's strength and determination to stand by her. Finally, Damon is stunned when he figures out the secret to Ketsia's plan. Interesting.
I got nothing on that last part.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Don't know.
Catherine, if Dr. Maxfield gets... Well, it's going to look like Elena to him. So I don't know how if he is even hip with the doppelganger thing or anything like that. But that's going to be weird.
That I could see that.
Two vampires and an ex-vampire who happens to be a twin to one of the vampires living together in a dorm room.
I could see that being the perfect cover for Elena. Elena has already been accused of being a vampire, so now if her and Catherine are switching places, she could throw Dr. Maxfield off the scent by putting Catherine in her place and revealing that she's not in fact a vampire. Really confusing Dr. Maxfield.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well played, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah. So we'll have to find out if correct next week. So Mike, where can the people find you?
The people can find me here in my lovely office. Now, they can find me on Twitter at Philidren, Thilladren, and here in my lovely office.
You could always find him in his lovely office.
Light goes on, light goes off, light goes on, light goes off. I'm having too much fun with this new lamp.
And you can follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/ASOTV podcast for some more TV shows, some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Until next week, when Catherine makes Elena look human again. See you next week.
Farewell. Light goes off, light goes on.